They dragged her out before she could even reach the door. Her scream echoed across the lake, cutting through the night air like a knife. Anna had been watching a movie alone in our small cabin, wrapped in blankets and half asleep. She thought the knocking on the door was raccoons, not men pretending to be law enforcement. The door flew open with a splintering crack. Floodlights mounted on pickup trucks blasted the cabin porch. Men in black tactical vests with HOA police patches rushed in, barking orders. "You're trespassing on association land. You're under citation and removal." Anna had time only to stammer before two grabbed her arms and yanked her outside into the dirt. She tried to scream for help. The nearest neighbor was a mile away. No one heard. Except me. I was already on the road home. I had been deployed overseas until that afternoon. I didn't tell her I was coming home early. I wanted to surprise her. Instead, I was the one who got surprised. The moment she called me, breathless and terrified, I was minutes away. "They said they're taking the cabin," she cried between sobs. "They said we owe thousands. They dragged me outside." I didn't need more. I floored the accelerator. When I finally saw the cabin, my jaw clenched. 3 trucks surrounded our property like a raid. Men with cheap tactical belts and knockoff vests strutted around, yelling orders and waving paperwork. My wife sat on the ground, bruises forming on her arm from where they'd yanked her. I parked 50 yards away and walked forward slowly. A Navy SEAL doesn't run into danger. He walks with purpose. The man in charge, beefy, red-faced, and shouting into a cheap handheld radio like he was commanding a military strike, spotted me. "This is a restricted scene. Leave immediately." I didn't speak. I stepped between him and my wife and helped her up. She clung to me, shaking. "What did you do to my wife?" I asked quietly. The leader scoffed. "She resisted lawful HOA enforcement." "There's no HOA here," Anna whispered. The man puffed his chest. "There is now. New jurisdiction." That was the final straw. Before he knew what was happening, I had him against the hood of his own truck. I didn't punch him, didn't draw a weapon, didn't need to. My grip alone made him freeze. "You put your hands on her," I said low, "and you're going to tell me, right now, who authorized this." His confidence shattered. He wasn't expecting resistance. He was used to intimidation. We have orders." "Show me." I twisted his wrist until he dropped the clipboard. Pages scattered across gravel. Fake legal documents, bogus violations, forged inspection warrants. No legal seals, no signatures, nothing official. Just a scam. He wasn't HOA. He wasn't anything. Another of the fake officers charged toward me, shouting, "Get off him!" He got close enough to grab my shoulder. He shouldn't have. One turn, one swing, one redirected joint, and he was face down in the dirt, arm bent behind him, screaming. I looked up at the leader, still pinned to the hood. "You put your hands on her," I said low, "and you're going to tell me, right now, who authorized this." His confidence shattered. He wasn't expecting resistance. He was used to intimidation. We have orders." "Show me." I twisted his wrist until he dropped the clipboard. Pages scattered across gravel. Fake legal documents, bogus violations, forged inspection warrants. No legal seals, no signatures, nothing official. Just a scam. He wasn't HOA. He wasn't anything. Another of the fake officers charged toward me, shouting, "Get off him!" He got close enough to grab my shoulder. He shouldn't have. One turn, one swing, one redirected joint, and he was face down in the dirt, arm bent behind him, screaming. I looked up at the leader, still pinned to the hood. "You put your hands on her," I said low, "and you're going to tell me, right now, who authorized this." Blue lights flashed behind us before he could answer. Anna had called 911 while I handled the situation. Sheriff's deputies poured out of 2 cruisers, hands hovering near their holsters until they saw I had everything under control. Deputy Hartman, a level-headed officer I'd known for years, stepped forward. "Evening. Mind telling me what's going on?" The fake HOA leader started screaming before anyone else could speak. "This man attacked us! We're enforcing property compliance!" Hartman stared at him flatly. "There's no HOA here. There never has been." The man froze. Hartman pointed at the paperwork scattered across the ground. His deputies picked them up, flipping through sheet after sheet. Then Hartman shook his head slowly. "These aren't legal documents, not even close." Anna pointed at her bruised arms. My fists clenched so hard I thought I might crack bone. The deputies examined her injuries, then turned back toward the fake officers. "You forcibly removed a woman from her home?" Hartman asked. "She resisted association officers," the man stammered. "Again," Hartman repeated, "there is no association." The next part was satisfying. Hartman reached for his cuffs. "You're under arrest for home invasion, assault, unlawful detainment, impersonating law enforcement, conspiracy to commit fraud." The man panicked. "You can't arrest us. We're in control here." Hartman sighed. "Not anymore." One by one, the fake officers were cuffed, their plastic badges and cheap hardware tossed on the hood like souvenirs. When Hartman turned back to me, he chuckled. "You do good work." I didn't do anything, just stopped them from hurting anyone else. One deputy inspected their trucks and let out a low whistle. "Look at this. Fake fine records, lists of targets, maps, financial notes." Turns out they'd been going cabin to cabin, scaring vacation renters into handing over money, hundreds, sometimes thousands, claiming the charges would prevent property seizure. Most paid quietly. We didn't. Hours later, with the lake still whispering in the background, Hartman put a hand on my shoulder before leaving. "You were calm," he said. "Most people wouldn't be." When you've been trained long enough, you learn screaming never helps. He nodded knowingly. The next morning, the story had already made its way through every fishing dock, general store, and diner in the county. The fake HOA ring was gone. The lake was quiet again. And when Anna and I sat on the porch watching the sunrise, she leaned her head on my shoulder and whispered, "I'm glad you came home." I kissed her forehead and answered simply, "So am I."
I am Liam, and trust me, the next HOA story is even worse. Subscribe now.